So, I love the James Bond movie franchise. And I recently finished my watch through of all 25 James Bond 007 movies. And I thought, what's a better way to celebrate that than to make a video about me reviewing and ranking all 25 007 movies. But first of all, this is my first ever YouTube video, and I would love to see you like this video. And then some heads up about the next few videos. I'm gonna rank a lot of other stuff, like other movies, shows, sports, and cartoons. But for now I have to say this. First of all, some apologies. My English is pretty shitty because I am Dutch. Second of all, my audio is not that good either. Then we have something about copyright. This video is a critique, which is considered fair use of following the Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. The James Bond movies are owned by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer and Eon Productions, respectively. Having said all of that, let's get into number 25. So, for this movie, I picked one which generally most Bond fans don't like. And I'm of course talking about Die Another Day. But if you do like Die Another Day, that's totally fine. And I also forget to say, this is personal opinion. So not the best, because my number one wouldn't add up then. At the end of the video, you'll see what my number one James Bond movie is. But, so, you have the setup. James Bond cinematic franchise exists 40 years. Let's celebrate it by reusing the plot of Diamonds. Because it worked out so good at Moonraker, and you'll see later in the video where I placed that one. This is crap. Let's just keep it short. The pre-title is pretty good. In fact, if the whole movie was just as good as the first third half, what a mouthful, this movie would be in my top 8. Brosnan is the best thing about this movie. Just like Connery was the best thing in Diamonds. But Connery makes it work better because he fits the plot better. I just can't like this movie. I mean, what the fuck were they thinking about this guy with his diamonds in his face and a nuclear power plant? This just doesn't make sense in my head. The plane explodes with Bond and what's her name again? Oh yeah, Jinx. Pretty fucking forgettable. I just don't like her. She jumps off the cliff halfway through the movie. Like, what the fuck? That cliff is at least 150 meters high. Well, if you want to see a plot about somebody trying to destroy the entire world to get world domination and about diamonds, I'll recommend you just watch Diamonds Are Forever. Because in my personal opinion, it's just way better than this crap. Now, let's move on. Number 24. So we're at 24, already a controversial pick on a Majestys Secret Service. For me personally, this is the franchise's biggest letdown. I mean, it's a beautiful Bond love story with Tracy and Bond falling in love because her father first of all set Bond to marry her for protection. But that was just in the first 25 minutes and the last half an hour. The middle 15 minutes were really shit for me. If it was the whole movie on Her Majesty's Secret Service, it would be last on the list. But luckily it wasn't. Also, they dubbed the voice of Lazenby from the train to somewhere, I don't know man, I just forget, but from the train to somewhere later in the movie. And it was really frustrating because I actually liked Lazenby's voice, unlike mine. And then they got on this fucker. Anyway, I didn't think Lazenby was that bad at all, and I don't get why people think he's so bad. I mean, he's still last on my Bond actors list, but he's good. A good actor. He acted his way into this role actually, that's a story for another time. But I don't like Blofeld really that much, and I'm gonna say it just now. I actually like Blofeld better in Diamonds Are Forever, which we'll get on to later on down this list. And the ending was just the best for me. Because you saw Bond really being defeated for the first time. Because he couldn't believe what just happened, as I think it was Irma Boens and Blofeld just shot his wife, they just married, she is killed, he is so sad, kissing her. Cop asks what's going on, and he says, well, have a listen.
It's alright. It's quite alright, really. She's having a rest.
This movie is sad too, so let's move on, because from now on the movies aren't that bad no more. Number 23. And for 23 we have another movie that many Bond fans like today. You Only Live Twice. For me personally, it falls a bit short. It's not convincing or great, but the only thing I really remember it from is that great volcano base, not Golfano, and of course Ernst Stavro Blofeld. Connery is bald in this film, you can clearly see that, but the plot was okay. It's not superb, but it is top 12 worthy, I guess. Not for me though. It's a pretty meh movie after all. I mean, the henchmen are useless. I like the rocket, but not much further. Oh yeah, and Bond turning into a Japanese person. You have a like 20-foot tall Irishman? No, Scottish man. Sorry, Connery. Scott. And you just turn him into a Chinese by giving him bigger wenkbrauw. Wenkbrauw? I don't know what the English word is for me. Let me Google that. It's eyebrow. So you learned a word today. Eyebrow in Dutch means wenkbrauw. You're probably never gonna say that ever again, but why don't you just say it right now? Wenkbrauw. 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 I don't know, that's not funny at all, but anyway. Let's just move on from this shitty movie. I mean, it's not shitty no more. But the last two movies were pretty shitty. Now let's get on to the next one. Number 22. And that next one we were talking about is The Man with the Golden Gun. The Man with the Golden Gun, personally for me, is a very good movie. But it's just on 22, because all the other movies are higher on this list, because they are better. I think that I get more enjoyment out of this movie than Live and Let Die. But the facts are that there are only like 3 kills in this entire movie, and it hurts me that much. Unlike the people who die in this movie. Further, I have to say something about the villain, who is excellent. Christopher Lee as Scaramanga is one of the deadliest combinations ever. He might be the most dangerous villain of the Mole movies. Further, I don't want to say a lot of it. About it, not a lot of it. Yes, I want to say a lot of it. Nice movie. But it's one of the worst 007 adventures. Purely because all the other ones are just better. Have more action set pieces. Sometimes better countries. Oh yeah, and I do like the flying car. Anyway, on to the next one. And that next one is...
He's good.
Number 21. The World is Not Enough. The World is Not Enough is one of the 3 or 4 Bond films, maybe a little more, maybe a little less, where it's hit or miss. And for me, it is in between, split right in the middle, because I am different and I'm not the same as everybody. I think this film is not bad, but not very entertaining either. It mainly depends on the pace. One moment it is very slow, and the other moment it's very fast, and that bothers me. I mean, what the fuck are we thinking when you do like, for example, not in this movie, you do first of all a slow library reading scene, and the second scene is a high-speed chase on a rocket or something. That really bothers me. Furthermore, the villain's decent. This movie is, for my opinion, the first movie with 2 villains. Not the first one with a girl villain, female villain, Jeez. Talking Ben. That's an app, not that app. Okay, good. Good stuff. You'll see which movie the first female villain had, in my opinion, later down the line. Jeez. Getting tired. But this entire movie is just mediocre or decent, however you want to call it. And once again, Brosnan is the saving grace of this movie. But it doesn't depend as much on him as in the other movie. Die Another Day. And the Bond girl is pretty shitty, and she has a shitty name as Christmas Jones. Dr. Christmas Jones. Not related to Indiana Jones. But after all, it's just a mediocre, shitty, mediocre movie. Yeah, mediocre. We're going for mediocre movie. Number 20. And now we get to a movie that a lot of Bond fans would have seen coming way earlier. I'm talking about Quantum of Solace. But before we get to Quantum, I first want to ask you guys something. Could you please comment down below in the reactions, the comments, I don't know how you want to call them, I think the comments, your top 3 worst and top 3 best James Bond movies, based on personal opinion. Because I'm just curious on how I'll fit into the James Bond community with my ranking. Now let's get on to Quantum, and I find it pretty okay. The plot is all over the place, just like the action scenes. It's pretty untrackable, and I don't like that. But there's no fucking gun barrel to start. We had to wait to the end to see the fucking gun barrel. I'm gonna do a lot of bleeping my curse words. No, I just leave them in. I don't care about that. If I get demonetized, then I'll just have to make it an 18+ film, because I curse 3 times or something. Yeah, a bit more often, but anyway. At Casino Royale, you had, after the pre-title scene, you had a gun barrel. And now you have to wait to the end to see the fucking gun barrel. But yeah, the villain is okay, Dominic Green. I like that he doesn't want to own the entire world for once. That's a bit fresh. Casino Royale had that too, to be fair. And they are reviving Specter slowly in this setting. With the Daniel Craig continuum. Fuck. That's Jason Bourne, I guess. The henchman exists. I don't think that any James Bond fan will have to know his name. Probably like it's a 50-50 split on if you know his name. His name is Elvis, and he can't do anything. And he's so stupid, and I prefer Elvis Presley. But I'll give this movie a good grade. Now let's move on to something even better. At number 19. At number 19 we have Tomorrow Never Dies. I found Tomorrow Never Dies to be a good film. And that's everything I have to say about it. Well, just walk to the moon then. Fuck you, and no blurring indeed. Okay. No, but Tomorrow Never Dies is probably the most mid movie on this list. And it's only on P19, so that's saying something about the other movies in a good way. Pierce Brosnan is great, as usual. Wei Lin is a very good Bond girl. And yes, we have Joe Don Baker back as Wade from GoldenEye once again. And he also played the villain, Whittaker, from The Living Daylights. So this is his 3rd time in 2 separate roles on a James Bond movie. And nearly in a row, there's just 1 movie in between that. Where was I? Elliot Carver is an excellent villain. He wants to start World War III to be able to expand his news to China, because China will give him his rights then. And they'll get very, very good news. Because World War III is just like a news treaty for every news reporter. I find the plot pretty great. And the henchman, Stamper, looks like the brother of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Editor Ben, can you show us a picture? Maybe like compare them to each other or something? Look, here you see them. Goetz Otto, the actor of Stamper. was very muscular. My guy's gonna say I'll be back very soon. And you can already tell that my humor is running out. Now let's move on. 18. The Spy Who Loved Me. The Spy Who Loved Me is one of the best Maw films, and that's saying something because it's only a second film on this list. And that's just saying something. I said that twice in 2 sentences. Okay, fuck that. Because I just like the James Bond movies. And The Spy Who Loved Me falls just a little short compared to all the other more films. And if you are new to the James Bond franchise, I would recommend this one to be your first film because very much can be said positively about this movie. Stromberg is forgettable, but I found him a really strong villain, although he's sitting in his chair all of the time, in his underwater villa, trying to destroy the world again. Let's go. The pre-title is great with the Union Jack. Jaws is great through. He actually comes back to the next movie, which is Moonraker. And Roger Moore is just... I like the guy. The late Sir Roger Moore, I think it is. I don't know if he's a sir, but he should be in... Actually, yes. I don't know, but he should be a sir. The music is a little less compared to other things. But I do still like him. And Stromberg's death is not very great. I would have liked it more if he was fed to the sharks. And Moonraker reused his blood, but in space, by the way. Yeah, I like this movie. Number 17. So, for P17, we have yet another movie which is not received that well by the Bond community. And I'm talking about Specter. I found the storyline of Specter pretty good. Pretty darn good. And the scene, I'll just talk about it now because it's considered pretty bad or pretty good by some people. Mostly the first one. The scene where Bond gets hit in the head by the brain ball and still remembers Madeline is pretty meh. I don't like it that much. I wouldn't care if it was without it, but I find it okay. And the best scene is a bit obvious. It's the scene where Blofeld has blown up the entire MI6 building. I think it was the MI6 building, could just be a prison or something. This was the first full movie that I watched. I watched a little bit of one movie which got me into the franchise. I'll talk about that one later. But yeah, it's a pretty meh movie. I do like the wounds on Blofeld's face after the explosion in the desert. They're pretty realistic and I won't show them here because YouTube probably won't let me. And that's everything I have to say about Spectre in just over 1 minute 20. Number 16. So, for number 16 we have the newest Bond film, No Time to Die. And just a quick spoiler, the fucker dies. Anyway, let's start with the pre-title theme. It's kinda like a short movie on its own. But it's pretty weird, team-wise. Because it starts as a horror movie, then it goes into a romance movie, then a romance mystery movie, and it ended with action and then some sadness, which is not really a team sadness, but we could make it a team, I don't know, just a genre. I'm talking about genres. Yes, that's totally what I'm talking about. The pre-title scene was okay, nothing too special in that part, but I still liked it more than some other movies on this list. But the main part of the film, I found No Time to Die to be a bit lacking, but it's still a pretty darn good movie. I mean, I'll watch this one over think about something good, bad, no. I'll watch this one over Cats, the 2019 movie. Cats is a meme. pretty big mean. But anyway. As a standalone movie, it was a blast, but as the end of an entire era of Bond, I don't think it's that good. Plus the name is fucked and, how do you call it, cursed. Because he actually dies and the movie is called No Time to Fucking Die. But I'm buying the ending actually, because Bond did it for Madeline and I like it. Because Vesper did that for him, and I'm saying a lot of because I like saying because. Yes. And almost forgot. 7 is shit. Let's move on. 15. So for number 15 we have Moonraker. And I actually remember the date when I watched this movie. And yes, this ranking is not pretty good fixed together, because I watched all of these movies over 1.5 year time span. I watched this one on 3 January 2022. Not that you want to know, but I already spent 20 seconds on that. Moonraker is a pretty crazy movie, but I do like it. It has Roger Moore as James Bond, which I also like, and it's about a stolen space shuttle called Moonraker, I guess. Yeah, that's it, probably. And Bond has to get it back. On the way there, he gets multiple helping hands. With the last few crazy scenes in the space, where Jaws becomes on the other side, is going to stand on the other side, becomes he joins the MI6 team, and now he's helping Bond. NASA also helps, as they see that there's a space station just floating above the Earth. And Dr. Drax, which is the main villain, his death is probably my favorite scene, together with the pheasant hunt. I don't know how to say that in English, but we call it, in Dutch, we call it kleiduif schieten. And that was a pretty messy explanation about the movie, so I just would recommend you watch the movie, because I don't mind it that much. Moving on. P14. So, for P14 we have Diamonds Are Forever. It's probably the movie which I spoke about the most in the early few movies, because I am probably one of the only guys on Earth who liked this movie. And girls, not only guys. Sorry, I don't want to be sexist. I found it really underrated. And it's pretty bad, by the way. I do like the movie and the plot, but the last scenes where the explosions are, I mean, I'll just have a look. I'll give you a look. It's fucking bad. But Connery is pretty good, and I do like the story quite a bit. Blofeld, weird, but this. Yeah, Blofeld is shitty with his cat and his drag costume. But the rest of the movie, I like pretty much. And I'm once again getting tired. I should really stop recording, but I'm gonna finish this round. P13. So, for P13, we have Live and Let Die. This was the first ever Roger Moore James Bond 007 movie. And I really liked him. He did great in this movie. It's a pretty bizarre adventure, going to a voodoo cult, voodoo and shit, and somebody survives who died, and he's on a train at the settings. Baron Samedi, his name is, I think. And the best kill is probably Mr. Big, with a shock bullet in the mouth by Bond, and it explodes him, literally explodes him. He goes out of the water and he just explodes to the ceiling. It's pretty comical, but I don't see why the fuck this made it in. Yeah, Mr. Big is, by the way, the villain. He's not that memorable, but I think he'll get a spot on my top 12 James Bond villains list, probably. Not sure about the top 10, but moving on to number 12. And on that number 12 spot, you can find Thunderball. Thunderball is the first ever Connery Bond movie I ever saw. The film is about Largo, the number 2 from Specter. Specter has stolen an airplane from the Navy with 2 atomic bombs on it. Largo and Specter are threatening the United Kingdom and the United States of America that they need to pay some money. And with some I mean quite a lot more than I will make in my entire life. Well, hopefully not, but we'll see. So everything together, Bond has stolen everything back, by the way. And Connery is of course the star of the show. I really like it. It's a pretty good movie, and I would recommend this as one of the two first Bond movies, because it's not top tier Bond, but it's pretty mid, and it gives you an idea of what the series can all do with their movies. So yeah, moving on to number 11. So the unlucky number who just misses out on the top 10, who would be my honorable mention if I only have one, is GoldenEye for me. I found GoldenEye a tad bit overrated, and it's probably because a lot of people will have nostalgia for this movie, because the second wave of Bond fans, after of course the OGs from Dr. No, would probably have come from GoldenEye, where they saw Pierce Brosnan as the 00 agent, blasting some bullets into you and blasting some bullets into you and killing a lot of people. And that's probably why they have this movie at number 1 or in the top 5. For me, it's P11. I still actually pretty like this movie. But the only reason this is the highest Pierce Brosnan movie is because the plot is better than the rest, I think. And Alex Trevelyan is the best damned villain I have ever... No, not the best, but one of the best. And the last fight between Alex Trevelyan and James Bond is epic. And we of course have Senja Onatop, played by Femke Janssen from my small country of the Netherlands. Yes, people, we go to the Netherlands all the time. And I just gained energy back because I drank some Coca-Cola. Not sponsored by Coca-Cola. But I don't get why people like this so much. But still, it's a pretty good movie. And I get that I'm losing my sanity right now because I'm already like an hour in this room just talking to myself and my microphone headset. I'm gonna watch a movie. Maybe a Bond movie, that will cheer me up. Well, yeah, just moving on now. Number 10. So we already talked about GoldenEye, who just didn't make the cut for the top 10 Bond movies. Who did make the cut is probably somebody, some movie that you don't really like that much, and it's Octopussy. Don't take that title out of context, by the way. The Bond girl is called Octopussy because she has some octopuses / squids, and not because of any other reason that you could think about, which involves pornographic
adult business
things. And now I'll have to blur that. No, that's just a word. YouTube, you need to learn to use normal words. Yeah, normal words. You say that every day. Anyway, Octopussy is a movie with, like all Roger Moore films, a lot of humor, and sometimes it just drives me crazy. Not that I want a depressing setting, but still. It's about a Fabergé egg that has been stolen and is a lot of money worth. And my grammar is getting shitty as well. At the start of the movie you can see how 009 dies while trying to get the egg back to the owner. Now Bond gets the task after the demise of 009. And the mission is very dramatic, action-filled, weird, funny, and nice. And I sound like I am depressed. And I kinda am right now because I am sitting here in this room for an hour, which I just said earlier. My favorite scene is the scene where the bomb is near the point of exploding, but just about doesn't explode because James Bond in his clown outfit saves the day. Oh, and I don't have anything about him being in the clown outfit, because it fits the setting. He's in there because he's trying to hide, because he stole a car, drove into a circus without paying, nearly crashed his car, was chased by the police, and then got in a circus without paying once again. So he needs to escape to not blow up the bomb. And Kabal Khan is a pretty good villain. I'll probably place him, well, high. I don't know which place. And, well, that's all I got to say about Octopussy. Still don't take that title out of context, please. Thank you. Number 9. So at number 9 we have Dr. No. The one that started it all. I'll get this out of the way first. Connery is phenomenal in the first 3 movies, but I think this is the worst out of the 3 because it's still experimenting and it showed the most out of the 3. And also there's a very racial joke in there, which I won't say out loud because it's racial. Don't you get that? So you can see it hasn't aged that well, but I still like it very much. I like Quirrell, and Honey Rider is just iconic. I mean, if you think about some earlier movies, like before 1970, around that time, and you think of hot girls, you'll probably think of Honey Rider. I just forgot a name, that doesn't really make my point any stronger, but you'll get it if you're a diehard Bond or older movie fan. I do find it a shame that you don't see that much of Dr. No. I mean, the guy literally showed up for 25 minutes out of the 1 hour and 45, and the movie is named after the fucker. But I do like how Dr. No made everybody in Jamaica think that there was a giant dragon on his island, which is radioactive, by the way, and I like radioactivity in movies, so points up. But it turned out it was just a giant flamethrower on wheels with a paint job to look like a dragon. I don't know if it's in the clip, so I'll just show a picture if it's not right now. Right now. Look at that thing, it just looks like a dragon. I'll show a picture anyway, because otherwise it's pretty weird for me just saying that. Anyway, the first movie doesn't lag as much to the other movies in quality as some people say. Moving on. Number 8. And at number 8 we have one movie that a lot of Bond fans consider to be the best Bond movie. And before I say that one, I want to say that I just watched a few of the clips that I recorded, and I wasn't so positive in all of them, so I'm trying to be very positive for the top 8, full of energy, you know? Let's go, the last 8. I just sat here for like 1.5 hours and I recorded all of that shit, so let's get on to number 8. And at number 8 we have Goldfinger. Goldfinger is, according to many people, a real classic. I mean, you can see that in the movie, the villain, everything. And I think exactly the same. I enjoyed this movie the whole time through, and I watched it with my grandfather. He also likes classic movies. I also watched The Spy Who Loved Me with my grandfather, and I really enjoyed that. Yeah, and I didn't see really a movie afterwards, so... No, that's not what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that my grandfather hasn't seen a movie since, probably 20 years before we saw The Spy Who Loved Me and afterwards Goldfinger. So he was pretty happy to revisit those things, and he really remembered a lot of things, and that's what I like about that one. But apart from the experience, this movie is just classic. I mean, you have one of the best henchmen, Oddjob, doesn't say a singular line, I think, maybe 2 or 3. But he's so classic. Then you have Auric Goldfinger, played by Gert Vroop, but his voice is dubbed the whole movie, and that was a bump on my headset, not that great. And of course Sean Connery, what can I say? I think his second best Bond performance. And Felix Leiter was, again, in this movie, and I'm falling a bit short, but it's so darn good. And I like how Leiter and the CIA faked their, let's just say, deaths, so they can get into Fort Knox to kill Goldfinger. Oh, let me just get a sip of my Pepsi Cola. Not sponsored by Pepsi Cola. Still not sponsored by Pepsi Cola. Anyway, let's just go on, because I can talk for hours here, very stiffly, because I'm tired. about this movie, but it's just, you won't get far better than this. Moving on. Number 7. So for number 7, probably my most controversial pick of this entire list, even more controversially than Octopussy. Still, don't take that title too seriously. It's just a girl keeping squids in a room, not anything else. It's not like a... I won't finish the sentence. But we have here, up in number 7, the last Roger Moore movie. It's A View to a Kill. Many people hate it, but I am not one of them. And it's starting to rain, so that can mess up my audio. So I'm just gonna quickly... And I just saw that my room was filling with rain too, so that's not very smart. Okay, so it's basically a rewrite. A View to a Kill is basically a rewrite of Goldfinger. But it's one place ahead of Goldfinger, so is it better? No. Did I enjoy it more? Yes! I mean, I enjoyed myself the whole way through. And if how I place this list is I gave every Bond movie a grade. And like my best Bond movie, I'm gonna say that out loud, the grade is a 9.5 out of 10. And the worst is a 4.5 out of 10, that was Die Another Day. And this one and the next one both have a 8.6, but the other one is more iconic, so that one is above this, because it's the only time 2 movies have the same grading. But yeah, Zorin, I like that he's just crazy fecker. I like crazy villains, like Bardem's villain in Skyfall. I don't know his name anymore because I haven't seen Skyfall in a year, because this list is very scuffed. Anyway, and Mayday, a girl henchman, I like her very much. And there's an actual rape scene in this movie I just thought of right now, and I don't know... let's talk about other things. I just like Roger Moore in this movie. He's a pervert. Okay, this whole movie is perverted shit, I just realized. Anyway, Roger Moore looks like a pervert because he's nailing a 18-year-old and he's like 65 or something. He was actually gonna do The Living Daylights, which came out 2 years after this. Then it would have been 76. 67, yes sir, in the Netherlands we do the turned around the numbers above 20. Nobody cares. Let's just like do a video about learning Dutch or something. That would be very fun. Stacy Sullivan of Stacy. Stacy is the Bond girl. She's pretty shit. I don't like her. I like Roger. That is something. Oh, I'm just repeating everything I said already. And Zorin is deaf. It's just great. I haven't seen this one in a year too, but I can still remember him just falling off the Golden Gate Bridge. As he smiles, by the way, he's just falling down whilst he's smiling, and you can clearly see that he's a dummy, but I don't fucking care, I just buy it. And I love this movie. I absolutely adore this movie. I would have put it in P8 or P2, but I nerfed it a bit because otherwise I was gonna get blown up on my first video in the comment section, and I don't really like that. So anyway, I've talked nearly 4 minutes about this movie. I think this is the longest movie except number 1, which I will talk about in this video. So I'll just pause it and hang on and go on to number 6. So we have, first of all, we have a spy thriller alert. If you don't like complete awesomeness and spy thrillers, just go away now. This whole top 6 section is nothing for you, and especially this one, because this is a cult classic, and I'm of course talking about From Russia with Rob. Sole knetter. Dutch swearing. What you think about that? Anyway, I'm of course talking about From Russia with Love. Pardon. That's the same thing in Dutch and English. It's a very awesome movie, and it's in my opinion the first Bond villain. Some people say that she's controlled by Blofeld, but she does her own business kinda. I just don't buy it that she is not her own villain. I mean, why is Largo not his own villain then? She's number 3 in Specter, I believe. Was, because she dies. Poh, we did not see that one coming. Name is Rosa Klebb. And Tatiana Romanova is one of my favorite Bond girls. And I like just saying her name out loud. Before I was recording this video, I just said that sometimes when I was lonely on my room. That sounds really depressing, but I'm just gonna say that. Things like Tatiana Romanova. And it sounded really spoof or something. And I'm putting the energy in now, because otherwise this whole thing sounds depressing. Just like my accent. And Connery is just Connery. I mean, this is, for me, this is his best performance. Connery equals smooth in this movie. The story is about Specter, who wants a war between the Russians and the British. And I don't know why they want it, but their business will probably get better of it. But I don't really care, because the action set pieces and the binding of all the scenes together is really good. It's just a classic spy thriller. And I haven't even talked about the Oriental fucking Express yet, which is just an amazing scene where Bond actually kills some guy who is trained like Bond. And I already forgot his name, but I know that he's played by some guy who looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger again, just like Herr Stamper from Tomorrow Never Dies. Everybody looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in my eyes. I've watched these two movies, Tomorrow Never Dies and From Russia with Love, back to back, because I don't go in the order, I just watch them random. And yeah, I don't know, man. I just enjoyed myself during both of these movies, but From Russia with Love was definitely a step up from the other one. And I was just seeing Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time because I was thinking about seeing the Terminator for the first time. And yes, I've never seen the Terminator before, but it will change in the future. I will tell you that. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. Number 5. And before we get on to the top 5, I want to ask you a quick favor. If you are enjoying this video, there will be more top lists and more top James Bond lists in the future. So if you're just here for the James Bond lists, you can just visit those and give a like or something if you want to. But if you're here for me, well then I would suggest subscribing. And if you like sports or if you want to help me out, just subscribe or like. If you don't want to do that, that's not a problem. If you watch my videos and you enjoy it, I reached my goal. So anyway, let's go to number 5. And at number 5 we have Casino Royale, the first Craig Bond movie and his second best in my opinion. So, I know this is one of the movies where most Bond fans are waiting for. Le Chiffre is one of the best villains ever. But I didn't really buy Vesper, and that's probably a controversial pick. I don't know, Vesper is not one, definitely top 5, but she's a bit overrated. I mean, Tracy is still better, and you can see where I placed on Her Majesty's Secret Service, so she wasn't the problem about that movie. Yeah, but there are definitely 20 worse Bond girls. And Bond trusted her, really trusted her, and he loved her, because this is his first mission in a revive of the series. And I won't explain the revive, because, well, I need material for new videos, and you should just watch the Bond movies. I mean, what the hell are you doing on this video if you haven't watched more than one James Bond movie? I don't know, you just was included. Don't go away, by the way, don't go away. Well, it's pretty weird story actually, because Bond likes her, then he doesn't like her, then he likes her again at the end. It's pretty confusing for me, but my brain is too small to understand all this shit. And I'm almost at the 50-minute mark, so I'll need to round this up quickly. So yeah, that's really the story. And Le Chiffre is a great villain. I won't explain that because I do not have any time no more. Moving on to number 4. So, number 4. And at number 4 is The Living Daylights, the first Timothy Dalton movie ever, and it's pretty great. It's a fantastical movie, and it goes to the serious side of the 13 years of Roger Moore. Timothy Dalton is one of my favorite Bond actors because he is definitely on screen the second you see him in the pre-title scenes. And you should not mess with this dude. And it's a pretty good debut film. And I placed this above a lot of movies which also deserve this spot. But I gave it to The Living Daylights because I thought it was the better movie. Jeroen Krabbe is a Dutch actor and he plays the villain together with he is General Koskov. And he deals dope. I don't know what the... and he wants to deal it with Afghanian soldiers. And my favorite scene is just the first one. And I forgot the name of the Bond girl. Oh, Schnapperinos. This is not good. And I'm just all over the place because I'm trying to round this up. Anyway, this is definitely a big recommend. And I'm just going to round it off. So I'm just going to cut it off because we have 3 more movies that are even better to talk about. Number 3. When we left off with A View to a Kill, Roger Moore said to me, "I'll be back." And now he's back with For Your Eyes Only, which is my personal favorite Roger Moore Bond movie. And I thought it was a bit of a lesser movie because I saw a lot of review movies from other guys, Bond fans. And then I saw this, and I thought, no, this is definitely top 5, and it ended up at 3. And it's about a smuggler who killed the parents of Melina, the Bond girl. And this makes up for a very good movie because Bond has to get the smuggler and Melina wants to take revenge. And you can see the bonding between these two. The bonding. Okay, yeah, I will stop. And I do like that Bond goes to the cemetery, the place where the grave of Tracy is. My English is very lacking right now in words. I do not like him throwing Blofeld in it, but you can see the bonding between Bond and Melina, but not so romantically, and if romantically on a very low standard, but I do like their relationship. This is also one that I will recommend, and from the next one I won't spoil that much, and the next one is number 2. Okay, so the die-hard Bond fans know that there are only 2 movies left. One movie from the late 80s and one movie from the early 2010s. And we're going for P2, is going to be the one of the early 2010s. So the true Bond fans know which one is number 1. And the people who are just for me here or just want to see the channel and saw other videos before this that are not out right now when I'm recording this, but will be out in the future, do not really know which one this is. So at number 2 we have Skyfall. Skyfall. I heard a lot of people say to this movie that it's their favorite. And I totally buy it. It's not my favorite, but it is P2. I find Bardem to be a very good villain. He was former MI6 agent. Does it give you vibes of anyone? Like Alec Trevelyan? I don't know, I just wanted to scream that because I'm going insane in my room right now. It's been 2 hours. Last time I recorded was 1.5 hours ago or something. I took a quick, big break. Still not sponsored by Pepsi Cola. But Mr. Kincaid was a father figure to Bond because he grew up in the Scottish countryside, but his parents were taken from him when he got away from the parents of Blofeld, because Blofeld is a stepbrother in Specter, and it's getting too much because I forgot a lot of important details by Specter, so I just watched all the 5 Craig you know what? Fuck it. Watch every James Bond movie. I don't even care anymore. Just buy them or something. If you know me personally, just ask me if I want to watch them with you because I want to, but not right now because I'm getting some mind issues right now because I saw too much Bond movies in the last few weeks. But Mr. Kincaid said my favorite sentence of this movie, and that's probably not so good because he's just like a J.W. Pepper, but better. And that line was, "Welcome to Scotland." And I'll probably just add a clip here or something, just or at the end of this section of the voiceover.
Welcome to Scotland.
Craig is okay. I mean, this is not his best performance, but I do like him. How his recovery was here. And the first part was the same on level with the last part. And I'm just talking random shit right now because I'm getting insane here. But this is not my favorite Bond movie. Because there's one Bond movie which is better. And that is... Okay, so before we get on to number 1, because I won't even show the gun barrel thing before number 1, I want to give a shout out to 2 Bond YouTubers. I'll link them down below in the I don't know how you say that. The thingy. De beschrijving in Dutch. And they are the Dutch Bond fan and Calvin Dyson. They do plenty of James Bond content. And I watch them a lot before making this video to get some inspiration. And the Dutch Bond fan, like his name suggests, is also Dutch. So I don't know what it is with non-English people and Dutch people liking Bond movies, but it's just a fact. We like Bond movies. Anyway, on to number 1. And if you're a true Bond fan, you already know which one this is. And it is License to Kill. I know some people who have this one at number... Oh yeah, by the way, the Dutch Bond fan has this one at number 1 too. So I don't know why, but I wanted to tell that one. So if you're Dutch, you just like License to Kill. It's just a fact. No, it isn't, but... At this moment, it's my favorite movie. That can always shift over time. It's personal preference. That's something I want to say, because this is not the best movie. In fact, it would rank among P15, the likes of those movies. And I like the pretty fast pace a lot, because the problem with, I think it was The World Is Not Enough, was that the pace was shifting a lot, but here's just consistently fast, and I do like it. And the villains is definitely top 3 to Sanchez, Franz Sanchez, a drug smuggler from Colombia. He has some cover-up businesses, some really good henchmen, like some guy, which I won't say yet because I'll come to him later. Timothy Dalton is just awesome, by the way. And I have some stuff that I have to say following my notes, because I have notes, otherwise I won't just remember that. It's too much. So this was, by the way, the most recent movie I've watched. And this was also the movie that got me into the series. I watched like half an hour on this shit because a network was airing all the Bond movies in a row. And my dad was watching them one day, and they were airing those, by the way, because of the No Time to Die coming out, and they wanted to show every Bond movie. So I just watched with him for half an hour before I was going to bed. And I loved it. So then I started watching Specter, which came later on that. And then Christmas came around, and he bought us a box with every James Bond movie. And that's when I got this idea 1.5 years ago. And it's only now getting pulled out. But some stuff that I needed to say following my notes. I like Sharky. Sharky is one of my favorite characters. He is working with Felix Leiter, whose fucking leg is bit. This thing is, dark, by the way, very dark and gritty. His leg was bitten off, and his wife was killed by Franz Sanchez in an act of revenge after they captured him and put him into prison. And I like that James Bond isn't with MI6 anymore in this movie. He left MI6 for a time to go and take revenge on the people who killed Felix's wife and let Felix's leg get bit off by a fucking shark. And I absolutely adored it. And I also adored that Q helped James. Because Q, if anybody would have known that, by the way, Q would have been fired. Probably. So he left the MI6 to take revenge, and this is very gritty. But I like Sharky's one-liner, that's what I want to say. This movie is just so good that I get off track very easily. His one-liner is when Bond throws a corrupt cop because he got 2 million bribed by Franz Sanchez to let him out of prison. He said, and Bond, he fell into a... I'll just show the scene, by the way.
I'll split it with you. You earned it. You keep it, old buddy.
God, what a terrible waste of money.
Benicio del Toro is in this movie. one of his first roles as the henchman, Dario. And that's something worth noting because a lot of people like Benicio del Toro. So we have Pam Bouvier as the main Bond girl. I liked her quite a bit because she's CIA? I don't know exactly, but she is cop. And she helps Bond. And they get a really nice relationship at the end. But in Bond fashion, she doesn't show up ever again. And there is another Bond girl, but I don't care about her. I don't know her name, and she's fucking annoying. And I thought, we're already at 5.5 minutes talking about the same movie. But I thought, because it's my favorite movie, I'll say the 3 worst things I have with this movie. And let's start with, Felix is not realistic. At the end of the movie, Bond calls Felix for how it's going with him, or reverse, at least they call. And Felix says, oh yeah, it's good. But his fucking wife is dead, his leg is totally gone, he nearly got his arm amputated. And he, oh yeah, it's good, yeah, how's it going with you? That's just not realistic. And then I have another thing. I don't like how Bond immediately gets his job back after he killed a drug lord. In very smooth way, but I won't spoil that because I want people to have the same experience as me, not get spoiled. But he just immediately gets accepted back. They could have made a sequel to this movie, an entire sequel or something, to probably kill Sanchez, get Bond back to working again. But they just made M call him from, yo, you want your job back? Yeah. And of course the notorious bar fight is at number 1 because this is just shit. I don't even want to talk about it. What the fuck were they thinking? Put a bar fight in a Bond film. This movie is already like Lethal Weapon and then you put a bar fight in this. Not that Lethal Weapon has a lot of bar fights. I don't know that because I haven't seen Lethal Weapon, by the way. Yeah, 1, but not further than 1. Yeah, but these few negative points can take this movie off number 1. And I really need to stop right now because I'm already at 50 minutes and I don't even know if I have that much storage on my computer. Anyway, thank you all for watching and I hope to see you in the next video, which I already have planned. And I wish everybody of you a very, very nice day, night, evening or morning. Ciao!